Welcome on in, and you are watching another edition of Smart Chat. Thank you for watching, liking, subscribing to my channel. If you haven't done so, please do so right now. Put up a new video on my other channel, the Tom Brand 1. Chat roulette, booing people. Because who doesn't like to boo people? Come on, take it for what it is. A little lighthearted humor. No feelings were hurt. I want to do a video on Raw, WWE, my thoughts from Raw in no particular order. And here we go, shall we? I promise you I could speak. John Cena versus John Cena's segment with Jon Stewart. When you hear the explanation that Jon Stewart had for what he did you not think back to when Rikishi did it for The Rock? If you look at Ric Flair's expression throughout that whole segment, Ric Flair obviously did not want to be there. Seemed like he maybe wanted to go outside of Barclays Center, go to a quick bar, little whiskey on the rocks, either that or he completely thought what Jon Stewart was saying was completely acidine, which it was. But hey, take it for what it's worth. The reason why you have Jon Stewart obviously there, it gets some eyeballs on the product, and a national media outlet, that's exactly what they did when you have a name like Jon Stewart. The Divas match, yet again, you had, it was a 3-on-3, the Bellas versus Paige, Charlotte, and Becky, PCB. And the crowd throughout this whole time was, doing the wave, chanting, "We want Sasha." And it came to a point where JBL couldn't even, JBL had to address it, and he addressed it. Oh, the crowd is having fun. Now, was it a sign of disrespect? Yeah, definitely was. But being from New York, Barclays Center is literally about 40 miles away from me. If you're in the New York area, you know that during SummerSlam, they had a whole bunch of events going on. Autograph signings. You also had NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. That match that was there, the women's title for Bayley versus Sasha. Great match. You had the SummerSlam match, which did not obviously lead up to, didn't live up really to the hype as the NXT TakeOver match did. And then you had the Raw match, and I think part of the reason why is, it's just the fact that I think the result might have been a little bit different if the Bellas were not in there. Because, PCB, that team, they could all go. Been in the indies, paid their dues. The Bellas are the models who learned, and I use the term loosely, wrestling. And they're obviously at a slower pace than, if it was against, let's say, Sasha Banks and her clique. So it's a slower pace. That may be part of the reason. And the crowd probably expected more than really what happened. Nonetheless, you should never disrespect the talent. At the very least, I think a better reaction would be no reaction than what they were doing. Seth Rollins, the unveiling of the statue. Now, you guys, if you recall, you've seen the statue earlier on in Raw. So, by all means, at least for me speaking, I don't think you expected to see Sting underneath the covers there when they were unveiling the quote-unquote statue to Seth Rollins in the ring in the last segment. And what happened is obviously, after Raw went off the air on the WWE Network, Night of Champions. Hey, listen. Sting versus Seth Rollins at the Night of Champions. Will Sting win the heavyweight belt? I don't think so. He might probably win the U.S. title. Listen, you have the guy for 2 years. You know the ratings are down. You need Sting on TV. Sting could chase Seth Rollins, fight him, and the house show gates, bring in money through the gates. For house shows, especially down south, they know who Sting is. He has a history there. Why not? You have him signed for 2 years. Why not utilize him? Don't think he'll be the world heavyweight title holder, but maybe U.S. title. Why not? He's an attraction. You need to bring ratings. Speaking of Seth Rollins, going to Seth Rollins now, you gotta give him his due. He's a good worker, not good on the mic, but ever since your perception, at least my perception of him, has kind of changed now. He's kind of getting the wins. He's not this chicken shit, booked as a chicken shit no more, and his title reign at least is seeming to be a little bit more credible. Speaking of attractions, Team 3D, Dudley Boys, back in what seems to be for a decent run for a little while in the WWE. These guys are, think of them, I think, kind of like the New Age Outlaws were here. They're younger. I think they're in better shape. They've been, they've fought recently, unlike the New Age Outlaws, haven't fought in a while. I think they could bring a lot to the roster as far as the tag team division. But who are you going to feud them with? Luchadors? Lucha Dragons? They'll eat them up. Eat them up. Connor and Victor, the Ascension, they'll eat them up as well. Interesting who they will feud with. A match that I would, you have New Day. New Day, they're going to have to work extremely, extremely hard to be even more heels than they are now, because the crowd loves them. It seems like, that it will be the feud will be against the primetime players. Bless, what's that guy's name? The big guy from Primetime Players. Bless his heart, because he tries. But, Darren Young, I just, I don't see it. I don't see him having the personality. The tall guy. The fraternity guy. Who was his name? I see it. It's slipping my mind, but you get the point. Speaking of dream matches that you would love to see with the Dudleys, how about versus the Wyatt family or versus the Shield? Wow. Speaking of the Wyatt family, damn, was that a tall ass motherfucker that they debuted. Wow. Wow. Tall guy, 6'8", 385 pounds is he? Makes Roman Reigns look small. Roman Reigns is a big guy. Dean Ambrose looks like a fly. He ragdolled them. Amazing debut. Now you're going to tell me, well, there was no reaction. Because I think during that time, people were trying to Google, find out who he is. They just didn't know how to take what they were seeing from Strowman. But, huge guy. And now, that gives Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose something to do. It seems like they're kind of like in mid-card hell. To me anyway, at least. When you've seen that SummerSlam match, or even you've seen the matchup again today, that rematch from Raw, it seemed like something was off, right? Was it just me? Maybe because they wrestled so much that you almost lose your chemistry? But I would have expected a little bit more from them, because they fought so many times. Nonetheless, Raw overall was, I think, maybe a better show than SummerSlam. Full of surprises. And surprises are always good. Interesting to see what will happen from Raw next week. And until next time, adios, over and out. Subscribe.